to share that story. Yeah, I wanted to bring that when he came through with that. So Uncle Tom Cabin, he built a home, he built a life, a historical reference to exchange that, to turn that around completely. Now, brother, you need to build some kind of orchard or something. The weather is year-round there at San Diego. You can grow some good food. Holler at me, man. I would move there and, man, live on that land and nurture it and make it powerful as you did, as your grandfather did, because you know, that's what he did on that land. Built that land. Telling you. LT. Law. All right. In this realm. In this time. So, there's another part of that story that keeps us charged up. That interesting. Well, I'll leave that to this thing here, but I think the last part of that was that his grandfather had to work for these white folks, was bought and sold, and he took the slave man's name, slave owner's name, and turned the rich you-all into his riches. All right, for his family. His family's now richer based on that. See, they actually set that up. The universe set that up for his family to become enriched in more ways than the grandfather knew something was going to happen. Something in him, in his heart. A lot of people who went through that, who lived through that, pushed forth something out of them. And to have a wife, and for the wife to have children, and for them to survive, and to live as human beings, to bring forth children. Oh, that's what he said, yeah, in this country. He said he's got white folks in him, because there's evident. And just as people in this country, besides the Indian, he said, who's already here, again, we're not going to get into the specifics of that, but we all came from something. Exchange agreement with the universe for us to be able to see. And even in that exchange of energy, what we are is more important. Okay? To bring forth through you the life that you're going to live right here and right now. Through the struggle. And I am so glad that's where I am right here, right now. In Uncle Tom's cabin. Come and tell other people. In an environmental way. Let's get this done. Shaking up the system that we've been living in. Don't be a rush to judgment. On the situation that you're in, you can always change it. If you put forth some effort. If you take some risks, this brother took some risks playing football. I'm telling you, man, football, I would never play. Better do it again, I still wouldn't play. I sure would not. Okay, I keep doing what I'm doing now, statistician and all that. That's what I would come up with some, creative words. And if that's anything I would do, I would try to do that and climb aboard the football world with some creative words and numbers, and all of his stats were incredible. The way he played the game was incredible. And like a lot of football athletes whose parents, they were hard work and all of that. Let me just say, my parents didn't do that. My parents had a job. We lived in the projects. Yes, we got stamps. My dad worked a job. We worked several jobs, but it didn't. To me, my parents didn't look as if they was. My mom went to work. She dressed up every day. Went to work when she got at the time, this and that. But she wasn't like sweating it out when she went to work. She smiled, happy, and all of that. And we were in the projects, yes. And my dad, when he went to work, before I was born, maybe it was a huge struggle. But when he came home, he had, stories to tell. I'm sure he put up with some things, but I went to work with him later on when I was early 15, 14. It just didn't seem as if my parents struggled like that because the game was so clean in the area where I live. We could exchange for food and experiences that we could live and help feed other families. See, I didn't see all of that. If my parents came to the game, I'm like, oh my God, what are they doing here? Now I got to straighten up and play the game the way it's supposed to be played. My parents are here. Otherwise, I'm trying to show out and do all this, dressed all out, wristbands, hit, all of that. I'm thinking, well, they're here now. I mean, I was happy to see them, but my parents had another life. She had sisters, friends. My dad had golf people. He always had people he knew, other professionals. He had a golf team, 24 holders. Six. Remind y'all that. And they would play for sickle cell anemia foundations a lot. So to me, I didn't see that in my parents. So if my parents came to a game, it was like, dude, what? Come on, y'all. I was happy to see them, but I knew they had another life than what to come watch me at every game. You see? So I didn't mind them not coming to my baseball because I had my grandfather there. He was at every game. I had my brothers there. They was at the events. You see? So my parents had a life, and I knew they had a life. I didn't, like Dr. Sabi said, he wanted his parents around him all the time when he went to the river and the street. That's what I was. I was a natural guy. Sports was just another avenue for me to play. You see? So I didn't see my parents struggle that way. They didn't speak about the struggle in that way, but I knew they had spent time away doing their thing. Of course, I knew what society was all about. But my parents were so, laid back and cool about things. There's so many of us that we could take care of ourselves and each other, the community we lived in. It was the projects, yeah, brutal, yes. Low income, yes. And yet, hey, they didn't have to come to my games. Because when I got home, I could tell them about it. They would, they would listen and, keep my uniforms clean, make sure I had a uniform, make sure I had, if I asked for some wristbands or anything extra, they would get it. I'd have to ask for the struggle. If I knew something, my friends had something, whatever, mouthpiece, I'm going to get it. So I knew my parents in that way. That's who I knew my parents. I did not know my parents the way that most guys said they could work every day and all that. Because they didn't talk about that. They didn't have to have, my mom didn't have 2 jobs. My mom was working for a school system. Okay? So if she came to the game, I just knew she was just there kicking it. She was just popcorn and hot dogs. And so, they were just kicking around with other people. They didn't really come see me play. Oh my God. I'm busting my parents out now. So, but that's the beauty of life and the integrity that I was brought up with. In the communities that I lived in, yeah, it was a low-income community, but I saw a lot of integrity, a lot of camaraderie, and all of that. I didn't see the struggle that people have today, and saying their parents, their mother, and all of that to provide for them, because she had sisters and a grandfather, so we had ways of getting things. Things were a lot cheaper then, and I guess you could buy something. I don't know what led me into not seeing all of that. All I could see was that's all I saw, the beauty of life and spoiled in the projects. Yeah, I asked and I got. So that's why I try to give back, although I haven't had the opportunity to buy them homes and all of that, that he did, that most athletes do these days when they come from a struggling society. This is what I mean by in the society today. We have too many avenues for people to not have to struggle that way. When we come into fruition of our true selves in this technological society, we all should be formally enriched. And I've done my enriching thing. I told you about the $15 million programs and all of that. Yes. So when I came back from California, Dr. Sebi, I was looking to heal my parents, my mother, and all that. So we are enriched with the answers to improve each other's lives. You see? So the struggle doesn't have to be so dark on the lower end. It can be dark comeuppance. Okay? And so not to get away too far away from the LaDamian Thompson story, but his Uncle Tom cabin, in which I worked Pfeiffer camp, yes, and had young people, the so-called at-risk youth, who lived in cabins with 6 other youth. I don't know if it was 6 or 5, but that was my job, to be with those youth and go out and do things in the wilderness all week long. That's what we did. We teach them about behaving and controlling themselves and doing things out in nature, you see? Out in nature, owned by some white people, you see? And so now I can even use that energy to move forward. And I've done that story when I had to, at the Butler Center Art Gallery downtown, there was some young ladies who worked for Joseph Pfeiffer camp. They didn't want to say, but ended up, boom, there I was. I said, hey, I used to work for that. There it was. See the beauty in that? In society, these things I've experienced. So thank you again, LT, for that story. Holler at me about San Diego, help you grow some. We can have an orchard and we can go high level, okay, with this, so that you can experience that even more so with your family and bring the power to the universe of what you're doing. So I use that right now for the Colin Kaepernick thing, and you used it for your family, your living arrangement, by purchasing that land and what it's all about. They charged up, and you've always been charged up. Charged it to the game, and that's where you play with the San Diego Chargers. You see, beautiful inclement weather, and brother, you told that story at the Hall of Fame ceremony, inductee, so you in the Hall of Fame in lots of people's hearts. This can go on and on and on. This is just as your grandfather set up something and lived through that, and it touched your heart, and now you're able to purchase that. See, now these young people can see, not to hold it against themselves, what they have to go through, but to struggle to move on, to continue on with their life. In a technological society, we should have lots of these things going on in our lives. See, there we go, the computer interrupts us. Mental dysfunction is very powerful. So, and like Darko Milicic and he sells fruit in Dubai. We are due, forgot to add that in. Yes, we are due to have these things be bought, to buy and sell to each other in inclement weather. That's year-round weather that can happen. Okay, so in what I do, and what I'm all about, I'm always trying to place myself in a position as such, listening to others. Again, it's not a child, it's an hour-wide decision that he made with himself as a young child at a very young age. Isn't that deep? Just as a lot of people were bought and sold as very young people in his history, and said he was going to be great from his great-great-grandparents. That energy to survive through it all, that toughness that football is. You have to be tough to play football. You have to put it on the line to play football. That's what he did. That's what he came up with. He touched my life for umpteen